Alright, what's up, Dragon Brood? Today is day 10 of previews for Tarkir Dragonstorm. Basically going to be our last day, because at this point I think the only thing missing is some commons, and they'll be filling those in. But we're going to talk about cards today. I hope you don't hear the construction that's outside. Let's go. 100 Battle Veteran. It's a 4 mana, 3 and a black for a 4/2 zombie warrior. Doesn't look much like a zombie, but still cool art. As long as there are 3 or more different kinds of counters among creatures you control, this card gets +2/+4, making it a 6/6. You may cast this card from a graveyard. If you do, it enters with a finality counter on it. What's funny is that if you have 2 other counters already in play, this enters with the finality counter to be the third. So it could make itself the last token you need or counter you need to be a 6/6, which is kind of funny. Is this card particularly good? I don't know, maybe if I'm playing some type of zombie deck that is also playing some number of counters, I would consider it. Like, being able to play it out of the graveyard, even as just a 4/2 is still fine, but sometimes it would be a 6/6. But maybe it goes into some type of counter deck with Renown and trying to put all the different cards on, or counters on. I don't know. It's an interesting card, but I don't see it making a ton of decks, to be honest. Defibrillating Current. Red, white, black, or you could pay 6 generic mana in its place. Sorcery, it deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain 2 life. I mean, it's a sorcery, which is a downside. If it was an instant, I'd be all in on this if I was playing Mardu. As a sorcery, it does change things, because we have a lot of stuff that deals 4 damage or 5 damage at sorcery speed. You just don't get, like, the gain life clause. But some of those other things are also easier to cast color-wise. Uh, it's just okay. Will it make the cut in some lists? Sure. But I think these colors are just going to have better options a lot of the time. Even just some of the outright removal from white or white-black are going to be better than playing this. Lotus Light Dancers, 2 black, green, blue for a 3/6 zombie bard with lifelink. When this creature enters, search your library for a black card, a green card, and a blue card. Put those cards in your graveyard, then shuffle. Wow, okay, this is something. If you're talking about trying to get certain cards in your graveyard, you're trying to trigger Renown, you're trying to get things in the yard you could remove to trigger other abilities, there's a lot going on with it. I mean, it's 5 mana, so don't get me wrong. Like, it's not like 5 is cheap to do what you want to do here, but a 3/6 with lifelink, which isn't bad, and you get to put up to 3 different cards into your graveyard to set up other things. And they don't even have to be creatures. They could be other cards that just work from the graveyard, right? This is an interesting card. Like, this is what I want to say you won't get hung up on, because it won't go into a ton of decks, but the deck it shows up in will probably really like drawing this card. All right, going to the translator here, this is Star of the Arena. 1 red mana, so just a red for a 1/1. Looks like a goblin, and then you can pay a red and sacrifice this, and this card deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control. It also has the attack, make 1/1 token thing. This is interesting. If I'm playing any type of tokens build, especially now, because we've played some on the channel already that make a ton of tokens, but if you can even just sacrifice this, when your opponent decides they're going to Day of Judgment, and you're like, all right, I'll sack it, you take 4, whatever, just bonus damage is super good. Yeah, this card, wow. Honestly, this also just works in goblins. It doesn't even have to be any tokens dedicated build, right? Like, it's good there too. Yeah, I'm genuinely thinking, like, why you wouldn't play this card, but it's a great card for goblins. It's a great card for just general tokens builds. Wait. I had to go do some clarification, because I was pretty sure this read too good. It deals damage to a creature for the number of tokens you have. That changes this card great. Still good, still playable. It's just not as busted as it was if you could just shoot any target. But it's fine. I would still probably play it if I'm playing some type of tokens build. If I don't have maybe if I don't only have one other 1 mana thing I want, this could also make the cut. The Traveling Botanist, which looks like such a great, cute little piece of art. This is neat. 1 and a green for a 2/3 Dog Scout. Whenever the creature becomes tapped, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you can reveal it and put it in your hand. If you don't put a card in your hand, you may put it into your graveyard. Nah, like, this is fine if I'm playing limited. Just a quality 2/3 for 2 that occasionally lets me fill my graveyard if I've been able to draft that or got that in sealed. But yeah, we're probably not playing this in 60 card decks, I think. Zurgo's Vanguard, 2 and a red for an X3 dog soldier. Another dog. We've been looking for some dogs to play with. Mobilize 1. This creature's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Big meh. You know, like there'll be some times that this is going to be like a 6/3 or a 7/3, something like that. But there's just better things at 3 mana we could be doing, unfortunately, that this isn't that exciting. Again, limited play, if I'm doing the mobilize thing or whatever, I'd consider it. But for 60 card, we're probably just never playing this. Shocking Sharpshooter. 1 and a red for a 1/3 human archer with reach. Whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to target opponent. Oh. Okay. This is like another impact trimmers, basically. Man, you could play impact trimmers this and War Leader's Call. Ooh, geez, that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Like, And this is on a 1/3 with reach, which does matter. You know, I could be talked into playing this card. It's a little it stat wise it feels a little light, but the abilities it has are both very good. So yeah, this one might find a home in a couple of places. Delta Bloodflies. 1 and a black for a 1/2 insect with flying. Whenever this creature attacks, if you control a creature with a counter on it, each opponent loses a life. This is fine. Could it make the cut? I mean, it is just a common. If you're playing something with a bunch of counters, and we have seen a lot in this set that do facilitate counters, then like maybe. I mean, it's basically like attacking for 2 against your opponent. Probably doesn't, but it's a neat card. Highspire Bellringer. 2 and a blue for a 1/4 Djinn Monk. Those are words we don't see very often together. A Djinn Monk with flying. The second spell you cast each turn is 1 less to cast. This is an interesting one because the play a second spell deck or play multiple spells thing, it doesn't say the type of spell, so even your creatures could be cheaper. This one's tough. This feels like it's on the cusp, right? I don't know what that deck looks like or once, but even in multiples, this becomes pretty interesting. It is a 1/4 flyer, so it can hold off a lot. It's a decent sized toughness. I just wonder if it's efficient enough to make the cut in that type of deck. I don't know that it is. But again, we don't know what those decks look like yet, so it's going to be kind of hard to like just say outright that it's a thing that we should or shouldn't be playing. But man, it's tempting. I will say that. I hope it doesn't end up being a trap card. Wayspeaker Bodyguard, 3 and a white for a 3/4 Orc Monk. When this creature enters, return target non-land permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. The flurry is when you cast your second spell this turn, tap target creature an opponent controls. Oh, this is another one of those cards that, like, it's neat. The question becomes, like, what are we wanting to do with it, right? Like, maybe this doesn't even go in a flurry deck necessarily. Maybe this is in some type of, I don't know, orc aggro, monk aggro deck, and you're just getting some creature back, and occasionally you get to tap a thing. But man, 4 mana for a 3/4, return a thing, and it's limited on what it can return also. I'm very likely to say that we don't end up playing with this, but if we do, it might not be in the type of deck we're thinking it goes in. Mammoth Bellow, 2 green, blue, red. Create a 5/5 elephant creature token. Harmonize of 8, 5 green, blue, red. Here's an interesting thing about this card. The first time you cast it, it costs 5, right? 2 green, blue, red. But if the 5/5 survives, then you just tap your 5/5, and then for 3 mana, you get another 5/5. So that's kind of the only thing making me pause to say, like, we don't play with this, because we very well might. If you can get 2 5/5s, basically 10/10 worth of power over 2 turns for 8 mana, is that good enough? Like, maybe. Like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's at least worth considering. Ambling Storm Shell, 3 blue blue, so 5 mana for a 5/9. That is a big body. Ward 2, whenever this creature attacks, put 3 stun counters on it and draw 3 cards. Whenever you cast a turtle spell, untap this creature. Cool if you want to play turtles, and we do have some turtles in standard. 2 or 3 actually playable turtles right now. 3 other ones I can think of. So maybe that's deck, I don't know. But if you are playing what we call affectionately the big butts deck, you know, trying to attack with things with big toughness or things that don't have defender anymore, this could go in those type of lists. You know, it's stunning itself. You do get 3 cards for it, so that's fine. 5/9's hard to push past. And honestly, if you do draw a turtle, great. Now you just get to do it again and get more cards. So yeah, I'm kind of into this. It's a weird card, but this is one that if I were to lose to it, I think it would be a fun deck to lose to. And for the most part, that wraps things up for this preview season. There was a lot to talk about. There are a lot of decks we're going to want to build. There's a lot of stuff that goes into current existing decks. I don't know what y'all are looking forward to. What's the first deck you're planning to build? Because I have like 10 on my mind right now. But you know what? We're going to link to yesterday's so that way you can get caught up if you missed anything. And I'm probably going to do a stream at some point in the next couple days so we can just talk about the set and ideas. But that's all I have for now. We'll see you next time.